With EMEA still searching for their first global trophy in over 2 years, super teams looking for redemption, Ascension squads fighting for survival, and a tournament in Paris on the horizon, EMEA teams have everything to play for in Stage 2. Most of our teams have made roster changes in their pursuit of victory, so today we'll take a look at every team and their roster moves before the return of VCT EMEA. I'm Commend, and this is your VCT EMEA roster report. Let's start off easy, with the teams that aren't making any changes. After Fnatic's heartbreaking loss in the Grand Finals of Toronto, they'll be looking for redemption heading into Champions Paris, and with their lead at the top of the championship points table, it's looking very likely that they'll qualify. Team Heretics have been closer to international trophies than most squads, but it didn't quite click in Toronto. Heretics fans will be hoping that this 5 can find their form in Stage 2 and reach the heights of 2024 once again. Karmine Corps will be desperate to qualify for Champions in Paris, and they might just be France's best chance at doing so. With some promising results in the off-season, many are wondering whether they'll continue that good run of form into VCT EMEA. With storied players like Sadak and Sugetsu, and young cracked aimers like Martin, Aves and Elite, if KC can get back into peak form, we could see the best run for the org since the start of 2024. And finally, BBL barely missed out on a ticket to Toronto, and with no Turkish teams qualifying for either of the global events this year, BBL will be hoping to reignite the Turkish flair in time for Paris. Watch out for the deadly Turkish duo of Levin and Sociable to make this a reality. Okay, now for the teams who are changing things up. Team Liquid narrowly missed out on the playoffs to the eventual winners of Masters Toronto, even despite bringing in Penny as a last-minute addition. We'll talk a bit more about him later, but Liquid have decided to make another strong move in their pursuit of Paris for Stage 2. Trex was replaced on Vitality earlier this year, but will be determined to prove himself once again in EMEA as he joins Team Liquid for Stage 2, replacing Serial. Trex will bring some added firepower from the backlines to help out superstars Kiko and Nats, but only time will tell on whether he'll mesh with the team. Team Vitality started the year off with a dominant run in Kickoff, but since then, it's been a pretty disappointing season for the Golden Hornets. They'll be looking to bounce back big time before Champions Paris, the first international event ever held in their home country of France. But if they want to make it there, their 2 new players will have to step up. With Safe moving away from competition, Vitality needed a new IGL, and they've picked up Unfake in his place. Unfake is a highly experienced Tier 2 IGL, hailing from the Spanish and French leagues, but without any VCT EMEA matches under his belt and a super team to get under control, we'll have to see how he handles the pressure. Sivov looked like a bright spot for Vitality during Stage 1, but they struggled due to not having a true recon initiator player. The team has opted to fix these role issues by bringing in Kovac, another exciting Tier 2 prospect. There's been a lot of talk behind the scenes about him being a great player, so we'll have to see if he lives up to the hype. With Durka and Les, Vitality already have a huge amount of experience. The question now is whether or not they can lead their new rookies to Champions. Foot are the second Turkish representatives in VCT EMEA, but unlike BBL, they have made a change coming into Stage 2. Former Champions winner CNED is back in the big leagues, coming off of the bench to replace Atta Captain. Foot have been consistently good for multiple seasons now, but have also consistently missed out on major success, and by bringing back this old legend of the VCT, they're looking to make the change that could finally bring them to a trophy. We still don't know what role he'll be playing, with his signature duelist filled by the aim god Zeus, but no matter what agent he's on, it'll be nice to see him back in VCT EMEA. Na'Vi ended Stage 1 with a solid result, and they'll look to level up their consistency in Stage 2. To help them do that, they've replaced Koala Noob with promising Tier 2 duelist Alexic. He's been tearing up VCL East for a few years now, and will be hungry to prove himself at the Tier 1 level. On paper, Na'Vi have a roster with a boatload of experience and high firepower. If everyone is firing in Stage 2, they could be on pace to make it back to the international stage. Giant X were in a rough spot after their 4 consecutive losses last stage, but they brought in Flickless and Ara for the final few matches of Stage 1, and the team looked revitalized. And by keeping Flickless and Ara on the squad, they're hoping they can maintain that momentum into Stage 2. They've also brought in Grabinho in exchange for Purpo on the controller role, adding some extra firepower to the roster. Giant X haven't given us much to be excited about this year, and it will take a lot for this team to overcome their low number of champs points, but maybe these changes will inspire some much needed confidence. Koi did eventually manage to find a win in Stage 1, but it was too little, too late. So for Stage 2, they're making big moves, and hoping these will be the ones to finally push them into relevancy in VCT EMEA. First of all, Natank is returning from VCT Americas, replacing Solcas as the flex player for Koi. We've seen glimpses of his potential throughout his time in the VCT, and Koi will be hoping he can play up to it in Stage 2. Shados also makes way for Monster, who's moving up from Koi's academy roster to play in the big leagues. Monster has been holding it down on the Sentinel role in Tier 2 for a few years now, and he's finally getting his opportunity to prove his worth in the Tier 1 circuit. And with Grabinho's departure comes the final change. Another legacy player will rejoin VCT EMEA, as Baddy G steps in on the Smokes role. Longtime fans of the VCT will remember just how impactful he was as a substitute for FPX back in the day, and if he's playing in that form, this Koi team could really do something in Stage 2. Our final two teams are fighting for more than just a spot at Champions though, they're fighting for survival. To ensure they keep their spot in VCT EMEA next year, Gentlemates and Apex will either have to qualify for Champions Paris or qualify for the regional playoffs and then run it back in Ascension. If they don't qualify for playoffs in this split, they're out. No second chances. And Gentlemates aren't taking this challenge lightly. They've brought in 3 new players to make a last-ditch attempt to make it to Paris. Mates are banking on BBL Pacific's star duelist Comeback, a player whose insane skill with the operator has caught the eyes of everyone in the Tier 2 circuit. You only need to watch a single play to know exactly what makes him so good.
Right up behind him, that's another shot connected! Beautiful reactions and another! A 3-piece under his belt, mandatory. They thought they were pushing and pulling the map, playing it well, but this man had other ideas!
But he will need a solid supporting cast, and the rest of the team is made up of Kamek and Mini from their Stage 1 roster, and new additions Vikaj and Proxage, 2 solid supportive players moving up from Tier 2. Gentlemates will need to go on an impressive run to make it to Paris, but this exciting roster filled with young talent might just be able to do it. Apex are the other Ascension team fighting for survival in VCT EMEA, and with no wins under their belt so far this year, they're certainly underdogs on the road to Paris. They'll probably just be looking to clinch a regional playoff spot, and they've made 2 changes to help them make the most of their last chance. Replacing Governor is Oliveira, who joins from Koi's academy roster. He was a very promising talent in the Portuguese league, so we'll see if he can bring that talent into VCT EMEA. Their second new addition is Penny, who's fresh off an international event after subbing in for Liquid last minute before Masters Toronto. He represented EMEA proudly on the global stage, and now he's making a permanent move to the region to play for Apex. Apex will be hoping that these changes can bring them over the line to stay in VCT EMEA, but it will be a real surprise if they can do any more than that. With so many changes happening in VCT EMEA ahead of Stage 2, the competition is wide open. Make sure to tune in from July 16th to see who's going to be representing EMEA at VCT Champions Paris. I've been Commend, and this was your VCT EMEA roster report.